Hello, and this is a book review and parts and interesting ideas that I found in this book/course. It's cognitive behavioral therapy. So let's see. The first one is, what is your habits of mind? I mean, what do you usually tend to think? Things like, if I want to succeed, I'm a failure, or over personalizing things. So there is this thing that calls the habits of minds, and this is something that a lot of clients and patients are going through, and this is something that it's good to go through. And the way it works is someone sometimes have this tendencies to go towards something. So things like, I won't succeed, I'm a failure. So it usually happens to that patient. And it's also actually similar to over personalizing things. So sometimes it has nothing to do with him personally. It has something to do with something else, but he is personalizing everything instead of looking at the problem as it is. The next one is, some people with social phobia will create bubble around them with no people in order to cope with the problem. So I found it really interesting that those people sometimes with social phobia will try and go out of their way to avoid being in social situations, so they will create this kind of a bubble. So this has helped them to cope with the social phobia with having no people around them, and they sometimes are working towards that goal. The next one is, in order to overcome social anxiety or phobia, it's good to start with levels. I mean, start with what you can do and don't go over your head. From there on, you can increase the intensity. So this is really interesting. So sometimes in order to overcome a social phobia, it's not good to go all the way. So steps are really important. You need to find the right way for that patient or for yourself that you can sustain, something that you can go through, and only then, and do that things that you're afraid of, and only then jump to the next one. So start with something smaller, do that, master that, and continue forward. The next one is, sometimes when depressed, you need to just schedule something that you think that will be enjoyable for you, without thinking about the fact that it won't be fun. It might not be fun right now as you think about it, but in real life it will be fun. So sometimes when people in depression, sometimes it even happens to me, not necessarily depression, but sometimes in a situation you say, no, it's not going to be fun. You think about it, trying to imagine the situation, and you say, no, it's not going to be fun, and that's why you don't do that thing. But the thing is that this is not necessarily the case. What I mean by that is, sometimes we just think about it, it won't be fun, but most cases when we actually end up doing that thing that we wanted or didn't want it to do, we find it enjoyable. So it's just, when we think about it, we think it's not going to be enjoyable, but it's actually sometimes end up being quite enjoyable. The next one is, in general, men are more prone to anger. Sometimes it's because society dictates that depression is bad, so they channel depression to anger. I find really interesting. That was like, oh, that's a good theory. So men are more prone to anger, and that's something that they found out some studies. But the theory is so he claims that society dictates that depression is bad. It's not good for you, and what men do otherwise. So, oh, you're not depressed. You can't be depressed. So do you think it's anger? Because it's also very similar. So anger and depression are very similar emotions. So you can easily use them or misunderstand what it actually is, and channel it a little differently. What do we have else? Within session, people can come up with solution to their problems, such as social phobia. What I need to do is to make those as mantras. I mean, to try, say to themselves, you're hearing that phobia. So sometimes people can help themselves by finding the solutions to that problem. And you to guide them and make it as a mantra that them can say, yeah, I not earn, but there is a reason that I have this phobia, and give them some kind of reinforcement that it's there for a reason, and help them to cope with it. The next one is the clinician is drilling down the underlying cause of a behavior and keep on asking questions like, okay, so let's say such and such, so you will be weak. What happened if you're weak? And continue forward and forward. So that's the job of a clinician, is to drill down to the problem and understand the underlying. What is the cause, the underlying cause? What is the most fundamental cause that caused this problem? So what's going to happen in such a situation? And he says, oh, that's going to make him weak, and you can continue forward. Okay, so what happened if you're weak? And you can say, hey, that's going to make me feel that and that. I don't want to feel weak because... So this is the way you should go with it. Next one is positive thinking. Just think about something good that happens during the day and not just a bad thing. So actually some people have problem with it, and also help with depression. So actively think about the good things that happens, not only the bad things. Some people always, it's only bad. So you need to find, even if it's hard, to find what's the positive parts of your life or your day. Next one is progressive relaxation. When you tense and relax, the muscle in order to distinguish between when you tense and when you relax. So that's called progressive relaxation. So you tense all of the body or a specific part of your body. And what is it good for? It helps you to understand when you're tense and when you're not. So you feel your body tense. Sometimes it's hard, or we forget the differences between them, and we don't know when we're tense. We don't notice. But if you know how it feels when you tense, it's easier for you to understand and acknowledge and identify it when you are tense in a specific situation in life. The next one there are 3 types of support: practical, emotional, and advice. So 3 types of support, 3 different people. It doesn't have to be the same person. Sometimes I think he even recommends it to be 3 different people. Well, there is the practical, some that offers a practical solution for your problem. How you should handle. So you have like, okay, so a practical solution, I don't have anything to do. There is emotional solution, okay, emotional support of, okay, you feel bad, oh, I'm sorry, and all of that. And you have advice. So, okay, well, what I think you should do about it. So it's more of advice. Usually it's someone you really trust. Sometimes it's parents. I think he adds that. So it's interesting. The next one is a very important way of CBT is to ask the person, how would you respond if it would happen to someone else? In other words, what would you say to yourself in that situation? So that's a really good way of CBT, and I think it pretty much sums it up in some way. Not everything, of course, but what would you say? What would you do if it was someone else? If it was your friend who was in your situation, what would you tell him to do? And what he says is that most cases, they actually have a very good solution of what to say in those situations. Yeah, I would tell him, yeah, take it easy, and you shouldn't think about it that way. And then you can say it to yourself. So people are better in offering solutions to the other side, but not to themselves. And then we have the last one here is one of the ways CBT is to ask the person how strong was that emotion, and then to ask it how it felt, and etc. So that's another way of CBT is to ask the person, okay, oh, you felt weak, for example, how strong you felt that. So like you can do like on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 to 5, and what did you feel that, or what did you felt when you were being weak, or what did you think you've been weak? So it's the drilling thing that I spoke just like a few minutes ago. It's a drilling down just in a little different way. All right, that's pretty much it, guys. How much will I give this? Probably like 3 stars. There's some interesting things in this book or this course. I do like the fact that he recorded some sessions, so it's really good to really get a sense of how a session really works. So that's awesome. But there's a lot of things that I really didn't like. So I think like three stars is the right rating. All right, adios.